Hello, everyone, and welcome to my solo RPG journal. Today, we are continuing building a RPG setting, the city of Valis. We are going to focus on the Grand Bazaar and just look at detailing that a little bit. So, if you haven't been following the series, this is a series I'm making where I am every episode looking at a different part of an RPG setting and constructing it piece by piece. We've been looking at making a city, the city of Valis, a city that is built in the delta of the Silverflow River in a fantasy setting. It is available over on Patreon. Not much has been done yet. Here is the PDF so far. We've got a couple of little bits on the introduction, and then at the moment, just pretty much an outline, and then a little bit on crime in the city. There's a lot to go. We are in the very, very early stages. If you'd like to get a copy of what has been done so far, or if you'd like to support me, head over to Patreon, link down in the description, and you can get a copy and see where we're up to. Now, getting started today, just looking at the Grand Bazaar, I haven't got any extra tools open. I don't have ChatGPT open. I don't have random name generators or anything ready. What we're going to do is we're just going to brain dump on the city, come up with something by myself instead of ourselves. I had originally planned this to be live streams, but at the moment I am, due to life, just recording them as I go. But if you have any comments or any feedback or any ideas, leave them down in the comments and I will think about them, and possibly they'll make their way into the document. But yeah, so I'm just going to lay down some ideas and then see where I need to go from there. If I need to, or if I think I could get anything good from ChatGPT, get some input, get some random ideas, or if I need a name generator or any other tool, I will pick them up as I go along. Now, looking at the document, you'll notice there's these strange things in here. Begin multicols. That is latex. That is to do with the document typesetting for when I export it to a PDF. There's a whole lot more extra stuff in here, stuff for indexing and whatnot. In fact, so that I remember, index Grand Bazaar. Let's put that in there. And so there's going to be lots of extra stuff in the document as we're going with this. That is not an email address, but that's okay. Yeah, as we're going, we are going to end up adding extra bits in that won't actually be seen in the document, but will have some meaning to make something work. So, to make something work in the document layout stage. So, where are we so far? This district is a bustling hub of trade and commerce, with merchants from all over the world coming to buy and sell their goods. The streets are crowded with vendors, hawking everything from silks and spices to magical trinkets and rare artifacts. The merchant family who controls this district is one of the most powerful in the city, and they have a hand in many of the city's political and economic dealings. While each district has its own docks, the bazaar has the largest import and export trade going through, rivaled only by the spice markets. Okay, so some things to work through. Let's first look at, actually, I'll go with to-do items, because these are going to be sections in themselves. We need something on the merchant family. We need something on the docks. We need something on the markets. So there's going to be a large market area. Let's have the bazaar. I think that we've got a couple of different market areas. One's going to be the main area. We need to have like Maybe that is just the docks. I'm thinking about a big storage area, just a giant storage area. These days, you think about the docks with shipping containers, uh, and that kind of thing. But I want to have like a section that is just this sprawling uh, area of warehouses holding goods. Warehouse? However you spell warehouse? Merchant, yes, thank you. Apparently that's an acceptable spelling for warehouse, or some word is spelt that way. Do we have... I think we've got multiple sets of docks, but I think maybe we need a ferry system. So let's move the merchant family down to the bottom, and let's focus on the docks themselves, the bazaar and the markets. So I think the bazaar is the first thing to tackle. The bazaar is at the center of a sprawling maze of arcades. Is an arcade the word that I want? I mean, English speakers will probably be aware of arcades in cities being long indoor streets and corridors, or even outdoor streets and corridors, full of small shops. But is that the correct word to use in the context? That's an interesting question. I'm going to have to look. In fact, I will go to do find etymology of arcade. There is one thing there to do. Cool. At the center of sprawling lies a large square, which instead of being open, no, is filled with small stalls, just adding more to the corridors. Corridors of shops. The bazaar is essentially maybe I'm actually... I think I've actually described the markets. That's got to come down to where I'm using the term. Let's see. So the bazaar is then this district is centered around, is what I want to say, but it's not right. Is centered around. Maybe it is right. Maybe that is a mode of speech that I'm... This district revolves around a large complex of arcades, of buildings and arcades that house many different shops holding many different goods from all over the world. I'm going to put that in caps because I want to change that. I have last stream or last video was all about creating the map of the world, at the end of which I very clearly said that I would go away, pull up a random name generator, and put some names in. I have yet to do that. So, placeholder, the world, holding many different goods from all over the place, is a sprawling maze. Maybe I don't want to put any judgments on how large it is until I make a map. It is a sprawling maze that holds most that makes the city of Valis the I don't want to say the mecca of trade, because that requires, well, I mean, if you're reading it, then you're in this world with the potential to understand what a mecca is. But it is a direct reference to stuff that is of this world as opposed to of stuff that is of the world that has the city of Alice in. So maybe I don't want to use the term. The Juggernaut. Actually, I could say the same for the term Juggernaut, probably, because the Juggernaut would. Juggernauts. What are Juggernauts? Are they. Is it a word to describe something, or is it a word that we use to describe something because it was the name of a giant or titan or something from medieval Greece? I don't know. That's another thing I could look the etymology of up. I also don't think I've spelt it correctly. It is capitalized, which makes me think that I'm right, and it's actually a name. Small stalls, corridors. I can't spell etymology either. Who would have thunk it? It is a sprawling maze that makes the city of Valis the juggernaut of trade. I could say the center of trade for the Western world because it is the center of it is the on the far west of the continent that I have set this land in. Juggernaut of trade. This is what I get for not going through and setting names for things. I now want to use them and I can't. Okay, so that's a start for that. And then at the center of that, sprawling maze of arcades, that is the bazaar, lies a large square which is filled with small stalls, just adding more to the corridor, to the maze of the bazaar. Small goods are traded at high frequency and volume. And it is known as the place to get rare items, small rare items. I've got this picture of this idea that You spend time in the markets because you're going to find that bargain. And that bargain is going to be something really rare and special, but it only comes up once a year kind of thing. You've just got to be there in order to get it because it will go very quickly. If I don't write that down, I wonder if that idea will stick. So the docs, I think that I should take the two things off this because that'll create export problems. Given that I'm trying not to export them and it breaks the latex stuff. So, the docs attached to the Grand Bazaar. Great Bazaar? What did I call it? The Grand Bazaar are the largest port in the city? Question mark. In the city or in the world? Maybe I can use references to ask questions like this. I was thinking that. Okay, I have annoyingly forgotten the keyboard shortcut for that, so I've just written it out. But notes might be the way to ask questions like this. Is it the largest port in the city, the country, or the world? The docks attached to the Grand Bazaar are the largest port in the city, the country, or the world, but they're very, very large. They see large ships from all over the continent come through daily, moving huge amounts of cargo. We've got the warehouse between the docks and the bazaar is a large section of warehouses which house all the goods that are not sitting in a shop front. Now, the thing about the warehouses we're going to need to sort out. Who runs the warehouses? How does this fit into the management structure of the city, of the district? Now, this is the interesting question because this is where we're going to find story hooks for you to run in your game. Another thing that you will probably deal with playing in any of these areas is where do you stay? Where do people live? Whoever are running these places. So, and that kind of general commerce that's just there to support the city. So, let's have another section. Have I done something silly like create lots of? I have. Living in the Grand Bazaar. So, people with larger shops tend to live in them. I think one observation is the advantage of living in a giant commercial district is that most anything you need to live is easily available. While there is a large focus on trade goods, there is easily enough people, enough need for perishable goods that there isn't really any way for you to go wanting, unless you want something particularly fresh, as nothing is actually produced in the bazaar itself. So there's because so nothing's produced in the bazaar. Everything is imported. You want something fresh, it's not going to be fresh. Your best bet is going to be something that has been produced by the city or something close to the city, but it's likely that nothing is particularly fresh. Maybe there'd be a fish market. Uh, but I think that anything like that would be quite small. Because it would be more about uh no, actually there would be a fish market. The fish markets want to buy oh crap, what's the word? Preserved. Want to buy preserved fish in large quantities for your caravan inland. This is the place for you. Oh god, that'd be a pain. If I have a caravan going inland, but I guess that's the problem that you have mm, with this place being in the islands. If I want to take any goods to anywhere else, the easiest way to do so is by boat. So if I'm going somewhere that isn't a port city, uh, the fact that the Grand Bazaar, the center of commerce, is on an island is just going to be an inconvenience. Oh well. I guess that's how this city rolls. You've got to you'd have to stable your caravan at one of the gates, and then you would have to uh purchase a ferry service. Well, purchase the services, not purchase a service, but purchase services to get your goods ferried from the market delivered to your caravan. Ooh, that in itself has to be an industry. So maybe there is a company Maybe that goes beneath the merchant family, or it's part of the merchant family. Is a farrier? What is a farrier? And a quick Google tells me that a farrier, so a farrier is a ferryman, but a farrier, which a farrier could be an obsolete spelling of, a farrier is someone who shoes horses, but a farrier is a ferryman. So we can leave that in there. There you go. To the point where I'm actually going to go. Do we have gate sections? So we've got the City of Vallis, we've got District Spice, Town Centre, Spice Markets, Clockwork Quarter, Grand Bazaar, Weaver's Quarter, University. Oh, no, we don't have sections for the gate districts. Mentioned farrier as a service here because no one else is going to deal with horses. And now we've got somewhere to actually put our gate district stuff, because that will be interesting when we get to it. Living in the Grand Bazaar. People with larger shops tend to live in them, though the outskirts... I'm getting to the point where I'm going to need to draw a map so that I can actually point to places in this district. Is that how you spell outskirts? I don't know. People with larger shops, the outskirts, have housing, slums. Yeah, I need to draw a map for the this stuff, because that stuff will come out really easily if I'm doing that. The farrier service exists to help merchants move their goods around. So a common issue with the city, with purchasing goods in the city of Vallis, particularly in the Grand Bazaar, is getting those goods to where you want to you is moving those goods. If you are a port ship, a merchant running a if you are a seafaring merchant, the bazaar being located on an island is not going to be a huge issue. And actually quite convenient. But if you want to take your goods inland, particularly if you are caravanning goods in bulk, then getting the goods to your horses, carts, caravan can be quite an issue. I have a feeling the Ferrier service is going to be part of the merchant family business. The Ferrier service exists solely as an attempt by the family to corner this market. It's not to help people help move goods around. That would happen. People need to do it. They would make it work. Someone would come along and set up many different small companies would come along and set up services allowing ferrying and stuff across. But no, the merchant family wants its fingers in that pie. So I'm sure that smaller services do exist, but there is one large service run by the family in order to try and corner that market and hold their monopoly. And there we've got a hook. In fact, hooks. A smaller individual, an individual or smaller company has started ferrying goods around the city. The family takes umbrage to this. And there's a story. Now, the ferries to corner this market. While smaller companies do exist, there is an expectation that for larger transactions and deals, you will use the ferrier service. The ferrier service, the ferry service. It would be a ferry service. A ferrier would be the boatman. I have to change all the language in this. The ferry service provided by the family. If you can't, if you aren't moving the goods yourself, I would say that by the family, and that can be interpreted how you want. I'm sure that if you have your own boat, the family won't stop you from moving your own items. But if you're wanting to move large goods in bulk, the family are going to not particularly be happy with you potentially, but most likely the smaller company that is stealing their business. So yeah, we've got the slums housing area. I don't think there'd be too much to do. There is no particular entertainment in the city. People have to make this work themselves. Like, they don't have places to visit, galleries, opera houses, taverns. I think that taverns, there would only be. Oh, no, they'd have to have taverns. They'd have to have places to stay while you are doing business. A good few taverns to hold guests of the district as they do business. but that leaves basically just drinking. I think that there would probably be like they'd be reasonably classy establishments. They wouldn't be the kind of establishments set up for the denizens of the district to drink their lives away, I don't think. And this is where I start needing things like random name generators. An individual smaller company has started ferrying. Ferrying. What was I? What am I even thinking? All right. Yeah, I think at this point, I need to get something about the merchant family, perhaps. But I think at this point, we're looking for a map because that will give me some more clarity around what's around and what's there, and what's where. More to the point, help me actually write some of this stuff in. Hmm. So we have what characters would we have? There'd be a head of the family, someone to run the docks, someone to run the warehouses, someone to run the ferry service, and then yeah, I think that I might do characters as their own thing, and the family as its own video. Or maybe I'll do one video and do many different things, because I think at that point I'll want to be thinking about the families and how they interact with each other and what they're interacting with, and the dynamics there. Whereas at the moment, I'm really just thinking about the district and what goes into that. But I've got some insights to feed into that, in that, we're going to need a head of the family. We're going to need someone that runs the docks, the warehouses, the ferry service. There could be someone who runs the fish markets in particular, living in the Grand Bazaar. So yeah, I know what the key things are in the district now, which means I have enough information to make a map. So next video, that's what we'll do. I'll see you then. Have a good one.